You're a middleman between an owner's money and a resident's money, and that is not a great place to be on many days.
Every time the waves come in and they go out, and they reveal something. They reveal who is prepared, who can pivot, and who can really lead through pressure, and who is reacting instead of reading the tide. Jennifer Stoops is someone who has seen this industry from a lot of different angles. Jennifer Stoops, welcome to my show.
Change is inevitable. Change is going to continue to happen, but change, which we're in the middle of right now, drives opportunity. It can be scary for people, but it creates some of the best opportunities I've seen in this industry.
Keeping market share is much harder than going out and getting new market share, isn't it?
It is. It is. You're taking a Titanic and trying to turn it like a jet ski. That can't happen. Small business owners can't be away from their business for 3, 4, 5 days at a time because they're the ones running it. If you're not being curious and trying to learn how to poke holes in your business to make it better, you're not going to grow.
My gosh, Q1 is behind us and Q2 is almost over. And I think it is fair to say this has been a turbulent start of this year. I think a lot of us are feeling the weight of what the industry has been navigating. We have seen some companies take the lead, make some real moves, and including 3 major mergers and acquisitions just this year in SFR BTR. We have seen a lot of change happening in the industry, including 3 very large mergers and acquisitions just this year in the industry. There are even quite a few companies who are simply treading water. Sadly, we have seen some not even make it. On all 3 levels, whether you're treading water, simply have gone out of business, or you're growing through a merger and acquisition, we're all learning together on all 3 of those levels, either firsthand or by witnessing it. When you have been in the industry long enough, you understand that the waves come in and they go out. They come in and they go out. And every time they do, they reveal something. They reveal who is prepared, who can pivot, and who can really lead through pressure. And then they reveal who is reacting instead of reading the tide. But here is what is interesting. Even with the challenges, I am feeling very energized going into third quarter. I am excited about the depth of the conversations this industry is having right now. I'm excited about the leaders who are not pretending everything is easy, but we're still finding opportunity in the space. I'm excited about the companies that are making bold moves. And I'm excited about the people in the space who understand that hard seasons do not just expose weaknesses, they also build skill. Jennifer, you and I had a call before the show, and what stood out to me is that even through all of the tough times, you too possess this same vision around the opportunities that are really upon us. So today, I want to talk about just that, because what I want to share with the audience is that Jennifer Stoops is someone who has seen this industry from a lot of different angles and is now Global Industry Relations at PetScreening. Today, we're going to get into what you are seeing because I'm with you. And I think there is a lot this audience just needs to hear, Jen. Jennifer Stoops, I am so excited to welcome you to my show. Let's get inside the vendor network today.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am so glad you are here. So so I usually open up most conversations by really digging into who you are. But in this case, let's face it, I think a lot of people in this industry know who you are. And recently you were just on the C-suite. And so if any of the audience has not or does not know Jennifer Stoops, A, I'm shocked. B, go over to C-Suite podcast with Mendy Seeger and Tanya Odell and really take a listen to her story. It's super valuable. We're going to do a little bit something different today. We're going to go beyond the past and we're going to really look into the future. So let's do something a little bit different. You are super connected. People know you. They know your name. They know your presence in the space. I'm going to tell you, when you're in the room, people feel it and know it in all the good ways.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. So I want to start with a little bit something different and hopefully put you on the spot just a little bit. But for everyone that does know you, what is something this industry doesn't know or we don't know about Jennifer Stoops?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Sometimes you feel like you're an open book, especially having been in the industry for as long as we've been, right? But I am a fanatic about trip planning. So like if you came to my house and said, Jen, let's plan a trip to Paris, you would leave my house in an hour with a spreadsheet, completely outlined, price negotiating, comparisons, the whole 9 yards, like this is how we're going to go do Paris. Like I am a fanatic. I love to travel. And if people travel with me, I am very passionate about where are the best deals, but without sacrificing, like, I don't want to sleep in a Super 8.
Yeah,
no offense
you
to
want
Super 8s,
experience.
but yes. So I am fanatical about like trip planning and experiences and what that looks like. And of course, finding the best deals too.
I love that. We're planning a trip right now. And I think one of the best parts about going on vacation is the planning that leads up to it.
It's so fun.
Right? It's so fun because you get to really mentally explore some of the things without even doing the things in my world.
Yes. And sometimes the things you think you want to do, and as you do more research on it, it's the off the beaten path things that you wouldn't expect, the not super touristy things, or sometimes it's just a day of, oh my gosh, this hotel has so many amenities that it's worth staying in for a day to just enjoy this, and this at the hotel. But it pivots you in ways, but I absolutely love it. I'm super passionate about it. And probably one of the other things that I think really surprises people is despite my presence where I've been on stage and I've done podcasts and, I'm in leadership roles. So I'm speaking to, audiences or team members, or I get incredibly nervous every single time.
I do too.
Incredibly nervous. And I think there's something really good about the butterflies that you get from that, because it means you want to put your best foot forward and you want to be your best self and you want to represent, whether it's the company, your peers, your whatever, the industry. So, we do it all the time, but it's amazing the nerves that I get every time. Even sitting here, we're friends. We've known each other. This is just a conversation, but still, I have the butterflies in my stomach in a good way.
Yeah.
But
I have them too. And I want to do a good show for you. I want to do a great show for the audience. And I think it's the same thing when you're going into a panel. You really want the audience to walk away with value.
yes,
We come with a lot of energy. Sometimes we can come with a lot of words. But we want our words to have impact. We want our energy and our presence to have impact. And so I know that you do that for in this space. So thank you for sharing that. So Jennifer Stoops, travel connoisseur as well. So if you're booking any sort of travel, we're looking at something in August. We've got a couple different places. Patrick's pushing to go back to Jamaica.
Huh?
So we'll see. It is a really, it's a country with a lot of heart.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so before we go deeper, I want to kind of set the stage for our conversation today. The audience is going to walk away with a cup really full, right? I don't even believe in a cup half full because there's never anything, I don't do anything half. And I don't believe you probably do any. I've worked with you on the board with WMN for nearly 2 years. There's nothing we've ever done together that's been half. So the audience is going to walk away today with a cup really full and inspired with our combined energy is what I think Jennifer and I are really hoping you take away from this show today. So, and we're absolutely going to have fun because that's just a rule here on Inside the Vendor Network. And we're going to have, what we're going to do is we have a lot of excitement that has been building up to this show. So today we have a huge announcement that we are going to announce right here on Inside the Vendor Network. And I am so honored and so pleased that I get to be the one to make this huge announcement for the EverResi Media family. we are going to welcome Jennifer Stoops into our family of original series podcasts with her very own show called Meet the PM, which stands for, of course, property management. So Jennifer, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to EverResi Media. Inside the Vendor Network, it has kicked off in October of last year, and I am telling you, it has been the most fun, and I know you are going to make one of the most amazing hosts in this industry. And with your network and your connections, that only means that the reach of the media network that Gregory and all of the talent members have been building and our content contributors have been contributing, you are just going to amplify. And that's one of our words that you'll start using a lot over here at EverResi. You are going to amplify what we're doing, and you're going to extend the reach and really bring to life the mission and the purpose that really led Gregory to found this, and that is better together.
I love
So congratulations.
Thank you. And I got to tell you, when I received, Gregory first sent me an email and I was reading it, and you know, we tend to move fast, right?
Yes.
And so I read it, and my interpretation was, hey, if you have any suggestions, this is what I'm looking to go do. And so in my brain, I started thinking, and I read it again, and I realized he was inviting me to be a part of the EverResi family. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited and truly honored and humbled. I've watched, I think yours was the first to launch.
Yeah. Well, there were Inside Us. So Inside SFR is our flagship series. So, and then we launched the She Suite and Inside the Vendor Network kind of launched together.
Yeah.
And so mine is weekly. So everyone, it seems like I've been around longer because we're at almost nearly 30 episodes, whereas some of our podcasts are monthly. So you may not see as much. So I understand where you might have thought that,
but it's just so exciting to be a part of this network of people. Everyone that is part of the EverResi family, I've met them. Many I know very well, like you, like Tanya and Mindy, you know, the Castillos.
Yes.
I mean, just an awesome network of people. Reshma, the intelligence level, the experience in the industry, the reach that they have, like to be among this group, I'm truly humbled and honored to be invited.
Same every day. You know, this is a passion project, right? I love my career with Palisade. And it's not even really a career because I'm passionate in everything I do, and I can't get behind something that I'm not really passionate about. And I know that about you as well from our years of working together. So today's episode, we're going to get inside Meet the PM, and we're going to talk about what you're building, why it matters right now, why the industry needs this platform, and oh my gosh, why another podcast, right? And so what listeners can expect from your first episode is so important. I think let's get that clear today to the audience. What future episodes could look like or will look like, and I'll tell you that could change about halfway through.
Sure.
And then how PM leaders, how property leaders can raise their hand if they believe they have something valuable to bring to the conversation. You want them to raise their hand.
For sure.
And because frankly speaking, things are moving so incredibly fast in this industry right now. And you, me, and the audience should not be spending much time actually looking backwards, because this is a forward-looking industry. And right now, forward-looking is probably one of the most major things that we all need to be doing versus looking back and looking at and pointing to where we've been or what we've done because of technology and all the different things. So we're going to get into that.
You know, one of the things, my grandmother, who's about to turn 90, very near and dear to my heart, my last living grandparent, she always says, whenever I go with her and we're driving in the car, she'll say, take that parking spot over there because you can pull through, you can pull forward. And I looked at her the one day and I said, so you like to pull forward? And of course, in my brain, I'm going, she just doesn't want to back up.
Right.
And she said, well, we're not going backwards in life. We're not going in that direction. So you always pull forward.
I love that. We're actually, we just sent out an email with Inside the Vendor Network. We've asked every guest to give us something that their father, we're almost on Father's Day, something that their father inspired. But grandmas are really good at these things, and the wisdom, right?
Yes.
The past brings wisdom.
It does.
However, the future and the dreaming of what could be is what this industry is really faced with. And then with AI is really giving us some tools at our fingertips to really empower us. I mean, my chat loves me and it thinks my ideas are fabulous. And that kind of inspiration every day is really good to have.
It's a good ego boost.
It's a good ego boost. I feel everyone's temperature is changing because they're getting a lot of more deposits,
Yes.
And I'm being inspired out there. So Jennifer, when we talked before the episode, what stood out to me is that even through everything that even happened to you, that you even brought up in your episode with the She Suite, you've always pivoted with a what now, what next, I think you put it, you never asked why me. So I know you're a forward-thinking person. Talk about now a little bit, what are you really building with this podcast?
It's exciting because, look, the past teaches us, but it's what you do with it and how you move forward. And in my experience in this industry, which, I've been in it longer than I care to admit, change is inevitable. Change is going to continue to happen, but change, which we're in the middle of right now, drives opportunity. Every few years, this industry sees pretty significant changes. Change is happening around us all the time.
Yes.
But every few years, there's pretty significant shifts that cause this industry to change. And right now, it can be very difficult for people to learn, to network, to grow, to adapt, and have resources to be able to do so, or where to even find those. So I think we have an opportunity with, EverResi's already doing this, but I think in what I'm, fortunate enough to go do with EverResi, I think we have an opportunity to provide a platform by which people can find. They can't all go to conferences.
That's right.
Small business owners can't be away from their business for 3, 4, 5 days at a time because they're the ones running it. Some folks don't have that within, an area close enough, and travel can be difficult. They have young families, whatever the reason is, it's expensive. And so how do we help get the good word out? And this isn't just about one area of the property management industry. This is about the whole opportunity within the property management industry, from property managers to owners of businesses, to vendors, to investors, to companies that are looking to merge, to companies that have merged, to companies that are pivoting or new companies starting. The opportunity is all around us, and this helps deliver a platform to get that messaging out where people can find it easily and it's at their fingertips. There is nothing greater that I've taken away from this industry than being able to network.
Yes.
But when you don't have those opportunities, because it takes time for people to, I wasn't traveling right away in my career. It was several years in before I had those opportunities. And so how can we deliver that message? Because change is all around us, and the way and the direction we may be going with this today, 6 months from now, it's going to pivot again. But change is opportunity. It can be scary for people, but it creates some of the best opportunities I've seen in this industry.
It absolutely does. And, my fiance often says, your optimism has almost nearly got us killed multiple times. And there's a kayaking story we'll get into one day outside of this. But, this energy that we have and this optimism that we have for the industry right now, it's not, we're not being naive. This is experience over decades of 15, 20 years between, well, probably combined 30, 40 years combined between the two of us in this space. We're not pretending that everything is perfect. As a matter of fact, it may be the opposite, where we're very aware that change is inevitable and is a must-have. And there's a lot of tech, and it's really moving fast, even faster. We've always been a fast-moving industry, but it is moving way faster than even the fast we've talking about in the past. Right?
The iPhone, I think you mentioned to me you got a brand new iPhone. I think you have the 17.
Well, and clearly you're like a pro expert.
I wouldn't call that. I have a lot of friends that have teenage kids that you learn a lot from, but that phone is already outdated. That's how fast tech is moving, right?
It 100% is. So, from your seat, what are you seeing right now, and why is timing so important in reference to why are we starting a podcast now around Meet the Property Manager?
I think because the changes are probably each time we go through these cycles, right? The changes become more significant. COVID was probably one of the biggest opportunities where we were all forced to come way out of I don't care what segment of the business you were in, we were all forced to come way out of our comfort zone in areas no one was prepared for to pivot our businesses. And that's where we are again. You have market changes, you have tech changes, you have new techs emerging, you have new businesses emerging, you have opportunities that are being created all around. You have customer, expectations are evolving constantly. Speed is everything. Anything, vendors and trying to keep up with technology. I remember when I first started rolling out tech when I was an operator, and gosh, poor vendors that, these folks that are out there doing the hard stuff, laying down the carpet, fixing the drywall, hanging the chandeliers and the lights. And all of a sudden you're throwing at them, here's how we have to receive our work orders now. And it's through technology. And these guys are going, my dad was a contractor.
Yeah, they're tradesmen. My background was in
Yes.
flooring. When I got involved in flooring, not all my installers even had a cell phone.
Exactly. So they were handwriting their invoices. 100%. And companies can't handle that volume this way today. So it's an opportunity for us to take these significant changes and put them in a format where we can talk to the experts within the industry from every facet of the property management industry and share. Because if you're not being curious and trying to learn how to poke holes in your business to make it better, you're not going to grow.
Yeah, well, and if you're not poking holes in it, someone else is absolutely going to poke the holes for you.
You might as well do it yourself.
You might as well do it yourself. I love that. So, and there's a word that Reshma uses a lot, and we're going to tackle this word, and it's friction, right? What we're feeling is friction, and the friction starts really the person who's experiencing the friction, and let's face it, is the resident. Mm-hmm. And when the resident experiences friction, that means everybody else experiences friction. Happy wife, happy life. Same thing when it comes to a resident. And also recently, Reshma, is, maybe we change our vocabulary just a little bit. And we call residents, the people who are leasing these homes, residents. But they're customers. Mm-hmm. We're customers. And customer experience is from the beginning to the end. What did I experience? What am I experiencing in the present? It's future, past, and present. And our businesses, if you look at our businesses, it's the future, the past, and the present. What happened as they came on board? How are they experiencing us right now? How are they going to experience us in the future? And so, that is much different than customer service. Customer service is reactionary to friction. Customer experience is, how do we eliminate friction? And I think your platform and all of our podcasts are talking about friction in some sense, but there are, in the property management world, I want to kind of pivot here to who your guests are going to be on your first episode. And you've identified some players that are pretty experienced. And when I use the word experience, I use that loosely. They're not just experienced. They are the biggest and they are the best, and they have just come together to be the biggest. And they're not just experienced, so they're looking backwards saying what we have done. They are in the present, and they are hard laser focused on the future to really impact customer experience and not be reactive. So share with us, who are your guests, and let's reveal who your guests are going to be on Meet the PM.
So I'm going to pivot back just a minute, because one of the things you talked about was, sort of the platform for Meet the PM and, part of what it's going to drive. And there is no question in our industry right now, customer experience is huge. And there is no doubt the resident is 100% a customer. But in property management, as you know, there's a variety of customers because most property management companies are third-party management. Several of them don't own their own assets.
That's right.
And so when you're a third-party property manager, you're essentially a middleman between two customers. You're a customer for the landlord or the owner of that asset, and it's usually an owner of one door when you're a third-party property manager. And then you're also the person in the middle for the resident who's your other customer. So you're a middleman between an owner's money and a resident's money. And that is not a great place to be on many days.
No.
And so how do you make those experiences the best that they can be? How do we take an industry such as the property management industry, whether you're a BTR, single family managing assets for a fund, such as some of our Wall Street friends, or a third party property manager managing assets for owners of 1, 2, 3 doors, scattered site, multifamily. It is such a tremendous industry, and I love it so much. But how do we take that? I always used to joke with our team, and I'd say, if we go home on any given day and someone isn't pissed off at us,
Right.
we've had a great day.
Yes.
Because you're a middleman. And so, we're trying to take a very fragmented industry and create some best practices. I hold a real estate license in multiple states. And if you go to any state and practice real estate, it's pretty similar, notwithstanding regulatory changes. You have a buyer, you have a seller, you have your agreements, you have representation. It's pretty standardized, if you will. There's best practices in place. Property management doesn't have that.
That's right.
And so our platforms within EverResi in general helps to create those synergies. And so my thought behind thinking through the first 2 guests that I am going to have, in the industry, we're seeing a variety of things. One, experience, right? Client experience, customer experience, resident experience, owner experience, but it's experience. And that also goes to staffing as well, your team. But it's also consolidation right now. It's a lot of consolidation. I don't care if you're a vendor. I don't care if you're a PM. You're seeing vendors, but at every level. And so the 2 guests that I'm having, co-founder of Pure Property Management, where I did mergers and acquisitions, for 4 years, is Joe Pulverari, and Mike Catalano is his partner. Joe is able to be on the show with us. And then we have John Hirschfeld, who was a founder of Home River Group. These were 2 of the largest third-party property managers.
One of the largest mergers that
Yes.
occurred this year.
No doubt about it. Is most certainly probably the one at the forefront that folks are talking about right now. You took 2 phenomenal leaders within the space, and they have now joined as a team. And so that changes the dynamic of what an experience looks like for their owners, their residents, their team. How are they helping to continue to create best practices? What technologies are they putting in place? And these are 2 guys that came from very different backgrounds, not from the industry, but took what they've learned. Sometimes it takes a set of eyes that are not from the industry to see the things we don't see for those of us that have been in the industry for many, many years. And so it's going to be an incredible conversation to have 2 individuals share a little bit about their past, how they took totally different industries, brought that expertise into our industry and what they're trying to do and accomplish. Not only were they trying to do separately, but clearly had different ideas separately that jointly are creating that next level experience all the way around.
Well, what I also love about this is, there's been many mergers and acquisitions this year, and you hear about it, and everyone's like, "Oh, did you hear about CoStar and Zonda? Have you heard about Invitation Homes and ResiBuilt?" Right? So and Home River Group and Pure Property Management, and then the news fizzles out, and then what?
Right.
I always wonder what happened, because that was not the end, that was the beginning for those teams. And those teams then now have to come together. Right. Reshma Report. I mean, I love having Reshma Report and the audience having access to Reshma because she merged 2 of the largest portfolios in the entire industry, or merged 2 data sets.
Right.
That could have been a train wreck. So now hearing what occurred after, I'm really excited to now keep that story going post merger.
Right.
But let me ask you a question. So you're going to get into things like, why did they merge? You're going to get into things like, then what?
Exactly.
And what else?
Right.
And these are big questions that I think everyone's asking.
I mean, we just talked about, right? We don't look backwards, right? We're looking forward. These companies came together for a reason. This is not, oh, these are the great things we've done. That's in the past. They've done great things, but this is what can we go forge ahead and do together to be a better experience for residents, to be a better experience for the clients that they're working for that own these assets, and for the team. And honestly, for the industry as a whole. Because I know when even, in my days prior to Pure, when I was with Park Avenue Properties, our goal was always about the experience of our residents, of our clients, and our team. But it was also forward thinking on what can we do better to serve the industry? How can we better shape the property management industry? And I'm very excited to hear what these two gentlemen have to say about what that merger means for the future of the industry.
And that's such a big distinction because, this really is going to be the buyer's perspective, right? And they're not just looking for a name anymore. People aren't hiring a third-party property management company because Pure is on the door. This is two owners, two visionaries that have come together because, in a sense, also, they each solved each other's problems. Mm-hmm. Right? And they're better together, which is also our slogan over here at EverResi Media. And it's about storytelling about that why. But the buyer, right? Buyers, owners, investors are going to be able to tune in and they're going to be able to hear really and witness that Pure's not just the big brand on the door. They're actually proving results in real time. And there's a reason these two companies came together, and we're not going to give it away today, but you're going to get into why did they come together and what are they seeing for the next step? And what does that mean to investors who want to take their hardcore cash out of their pocket and give it to you to manage those assets? And I think that we're not bringing up this isn't going to be a billboard. This isn't an infomercial to help Pure get more doors, because I don't think that's their philosophy. I believe, and what I know and what I've read about Joe is this guy is a serious visionary. He built a platform outside of our space, mm-hmm. but a platform each of us touch probably almost every single day. He is brilliant in a sense. So Meet the PM is going to be powerful in two parts, right? And so you're going to bring on the power of the executives from the PM level, and then you're going to bring on the experts that maybe are even like some ancillary service providers, maybe vendors, maybe bringing in investors to talk about what your expert property management guests are going to talk about, and they're going to kind of unpackage it. So the first part is going to be those executive leaders in the property management side of things. And the second part of your episode is going to be about experts, and they're going to kind of unpackage your discussion and put their lens on it. This is going to be fun.
This is exactly right. Because the purpose of the platform, right, is it's about the property management industry. There are so many players within the property management industry. And by players, I don't necessarily mean the Pure Home River team or a vendor like, that we encounter within the I'm talking from staff that can watch the Meet the PM and learn something on how to better create operational efficiencies within their organization. I'm talking about an investor that's like, oh, that's a marketplace that I never even thought would be a good place for me to go invest in.
Wow.
It is all encompassing for everyone to have a takeaway from each and every episode that we provide on the platform.
100%. And I think this is where the audience needs to understand why they need to tune in, because this is an educational series.
Yes.
This is an innovation where you may discover new things really within these discussions.
Yes.
We're not talking about the past. We're not just always talking about the future. We actually may be doing work at this table.
That's exactly right. Who knows? We may have two people that come on in part 2 of an episode that decide to merge together later down the road.
Exactly. Because of this. We on Rushmore Report, we just had Lula and Mason on, and it was very interesting because it was our first episode. They're competitors, going after the same customer base, which are property managers. and owner operators. And at the end of the show, the four of us walked away with Lula and Mason saying, it might make sense that a property manager actually use both our platforms within their portfolio. And that's kind of a good segue too, because I think one of the biggest hurdles that we're talking about in this space is there is no one platform that will service the needs of a property manager. And there most likely will never be one platform. And I think a lot of people set out to kind of accomplish like the all-encompassing, ever-present platform that every property manager is driving NOI in a way never seen before, and enhancing learning and development, and encouraging our employees to be innovative, and checking the boxes of every leadership with all the problems that keep them awake at night. That platform will never exist, will it?
Most likely no. And that's why you have to build what works for your company. That's why vendors are so important. That's why, Pure and Home River were competitors to each other, and now they're one. Now they're Pure Home River.
Right.
So you'll see it. We're going to continue to see it. I believe very firmly. I said it 5 years ago, and I continue to say it now. We are going to continue. You're going to see new vendors, new property management companies. There's always and always will be space for new to enter.
100%.
But you're always going to continue to see consolidation of companies that exist today as we move forward. The multifamily industry has been leaps and bounds ahead of SFR, single family, for about 6 decades. I'm talking from technology to even fee, optimization. And of course, that's a big hot button right now in itself that we could get into. But I think you're going to see platforms like we're creating through EverResi. This is how we can help bridge that gap.
Yes. When I really started to get into the industry, I looked up to the very large operators, and I had a huge misconception. And that was that they had it all figured out. Right? And now, I've had some discussions. I was actually just having dinner the other night with Phil Yee, and Phil and I were talking about what does it really look like around customer experience? Because when you look at large portfolios, and you look at their tech stacks, they are probably at a larger disadvantage than the smaller guy in the new emerging, what I'm calling challengers in the industry right now.
Well, you're taking a Titanic,
right?
And trying to turn it and pivot it like a jet ski.
Correct.
And that can't happen.
That can't happen. And so if you're a smaller operator, you actually potentially have more opportunity to pivot faster than you've ever been able to pivot. And I think that's really key right now. And I think that the challengers on the vendor side, so you've got big brands out there that have established market share. Keeping market share is much harder than going out and getting new market share, isn't it?
It is.
And you know that from being in the growth side and business development. Keeping a customer, not because of bad customer service, but because of emerging culture and the ability not to turn that Titanic. All right, Jennifer, we're going to finish up inside the vendor network. This is my favorite part of my shows. It's the lightning round. I'm going to hit you with some quick answers. Whatever comes to mind first. So what's one trait every great leader needs?
Adaptability.
Adaptability. One thing an operator needs to rethink right now.
Customer journey.
Most underrated business skill.
Listening.
Biggest friction point in resident experience?
Probably also listening.
Yeah, 100%. One word to describe PetScreening?
Innovative.
Innovative. One word to describe Meet the PM?
Insightful.
What does this industry need more of?
Collaboration.
What is the newest podcast on EverResi Media?
Meet the PM.
Woo!
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Jennifer Stoops is coming to EverResi Media!
Woo! Let's go. Jennifer, for someone listening who wants to connect with you, learn more about PetScreening, follow Meet the PM, or raise their hand to be part of a future episode, Thank you for being here, but how can they connect with you?
I would say you can connect with me through LinkedIn.
Yes.
That's probably the best. It's Jennifer Stoops. You can find me on LinkedIn. Send me a message there and I will respond to you. You can have my cell, my email address, but that's probably the fastest and easiest place because I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Love that. And to everyone listening, make sure you subscribe, follow Meet the PM on EverResi Media, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you. I am your host, Yovonne Kenny, and thank you for being on Inside the Vendor Network. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Awesome.